Coming up next, for those of you who are environmentally responsible, we have the top 5 cars that you would drive to Burning Man.
Mitsubishi has given us a 49 kilowatt electric motor, and that produces 66 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. Now power is going to the rear wheels, yay, via a 1-speed automatic transmission. Electric motor, 1 speed, just put it in drive and go. Now this gets a range of 62 miles per charge, but when this car was dropped off to me, it had 68 miles on the range counter. So I would expect that to vary a little bit. So the IMEV has got 3 different driving modes. I've got your regular drive, your eco, and then one that really helps out with your regenerative braking. So we're gonna throw this puppy in eco, and you can really tell when you're in eco mode, there's just no takeoff whatsoever. And now this bus is in the way. I'd like to display how well the horn works. That's real loud. I know, but then that's not in the straight line. Now I'm adding more. I just added 15 feet. I have the worst range anxiety ever. Now, if you want to talk about EPA fuel ratings, I mean, yes, this car's got a 62-mile range, but it's got 30 kilowatt hours per 100-mile energy use. So that basically translates to an EPA fuel rating of 112 miles per gallon combined. Now, while I've been in this car, I've noticed that my actual miles are just a bit higher than my range miles. My range does drop a little bit faster than my actual miles, but it's not too bad. But I'm experiencing an incredible amount of range anxiety. I mean, all I can think is I'm not gonna have enough juice to get me home. Now the inside of the IMEV is just what you would expect. It is super basic. I've got a lot of hard touch plastics here. I do have a CD player and a stereo, but it's not really the best thing that you've ever heard. There's no navigation, there's no infotainment, so there's no checking of the Twitters or anything like that. Now ergonomically is where I kind of have a problem as far as the comfort goes. I'm 5'9", I've got pretty long legs, and to put my foot here in the correct pedal position, I feel like I'm sitting really far away from the wheel, but I can't tilt or telescope the wheel at all. So that is kind of a problem. Now, I can get a USB port, but it is optional. But one of the things that I can do is I can take this handy dandy little remote control and I can activate the climate control from outside of the car. So there's no USB port, but I got remote controlled climate. Mitsubishi, I think you've got your priorities in the wrong spot. But Mitsubishi does seem to be very concerned with the climate control, because in addition to having the remote control here, I've got a pretty good AC system and I also have heated seats. Miles and it's 20 miles back to work. So the sacrifice that you're really making this car is twofold: driving joy and spontaneity. I mean, I was just thinking to myself, you know, maybe I need to go home and pick up blah, 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 whatever it is that I need to pick up. Except then, if I do that, then I'm gonna use up some range and I'm not gonna have time to charge it, and I'm not gonna have time to do what I need to do later tonight. So it takes all of the spontaneity out of your day. If you just wanna go out for a drive, too bad, you probably can't because you're not gonna have the range. But it also takes so much of the joy out of driving. I mean, you should be excited to get in your car every day. Life is just way too short. And in this car, you just don't have it. I mean, it's too slow off the line. The top speed that I've seen has been like 61 miles an hour. Yes, I have 145 pound-feet of torque, and that's available right at 1 RPM, but it's still, it's just not enough. It's not enough. And you know, the price is very, very affordable, but at the same time, I personally am not willing to sacrifice my spontaneity and my joie de vivre for something that I spend too much time in my car to give up those two things. I'm not willing to do it. Maybe all y'all are, but I'm not willing to do it. Now, if I fold these rear seats down, I've got 50.4 cubic feet of space, but you know, we don't do the laundry basket test like that. We gotta have these seats up. So I've only got 13.2 cubic feet of space. Now, hopefully it's gonna be enough for 2 laundry baskets, but I don't think so. 2. Now, while not exactly the most comfortable place to spend some time, I do have plenty of room in the back seat. This driving seat is set for my driving position and I'm 5'9". I've got a fair amount of room here for my knees, and Lord knows I have enough headroom. I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could sit back here comfortably and he would never bump his head.
Give it the beans.
I'm giving it the beans right now. I'm giving it the beans. You can't hear it. It's so quiet and silent and electric. Now, the steering on this car is fine when you're just in the city, but as soon as you get out on the highway, it seems to lose its center very, very quickly, and I felt personally very shaky going at higher speeds. And the suspension, likewise, you know, when you're on smooth roads, it's just fine, but encountering any kind of rough pavement, it can be rather bouncy. All right, so just for fun, hey, Tommy, why don't you put a counter on the screen right here, and we're in eco mode. We're gonna see how fast it's gonna take us to get to 30. 1, 2, 3. Come on! 16, 18, 21, 25, 27, 30. Oh, that was not too bad. That wasn't too bad. Whew, fascinating. Well, I sure would like to go home now, but it looks like I gotta stay and get a little bit more juice. Look, if you're looking for a 4-passenger electric vehicle that's inexpensive, I mean, this is it. It comes in at about $23,800, and the only car that really bests that is the Smart Electric, but that's only got 2 seats, but it is much less expensive at just under $13,000.
Now, before I get into the somewhat new exterior, quick point here. We've driven this vehicle before, we've evaluated it before, we've done videos with it before. In fact, a lot of vehicles that we bring to the track, we either have done a video about it or we're going to do a video about it. One of the reasons we like to come here is because, well, it's a legal and safe place to do 0 to 60 tests and to see what its performance is like above what you would normally do, let's say, on a highway. So, well, you know, this is an awesome place to do it. So, now let's talk about the exterior. New front end, new rear end, LED lights, black top on the F-Sport badges, and pretty nifty looking wheels. Otherwise, it's pretty recognizable as a CT200H, which is, by the way, based on the Scion TC platform. I still think it's pretty good looking. This is where the performance look kind of falls apart because this is not a performance power plant. What you're looking at here is a 1.8 liter Atkins cycle engine hooked up to an electric power plant, and combined it puts out 134 horsepower. That ain't a lot, especially for a vehicle that weighs over 3,100 pounds. It's hooked up to a CVT transmission, and the good news is it gets 43 miles per gallon city, 40 miles per gallon highway, and a combined 42 miles per gallon. So it gets amazing mileage, and it handles pretty good. It's just, well, there's just not enough horsepower. And, well, bottom line, there's not enough horsepower. Wish me luck. Come on, baby. Come on. Good brakes. I mean, they're energy recovery brakes, so they feel a little different than your regular brakes would on a sports car or whatnot, but they stop the car pretty quickly. 12.1 seconds. So 11.7 the fastest. Oh, by the way, when you're driving this vehicle on the highway, passing power is really freaking good. So really the main issue is 0 to 60 times, having power out of the corners. And we're going to find out more about that next. On top of the exterior, you know, the new nose, the new LEDs, the new rear and all that, the interior has been somewhat updated, and that includes an infotainment system that has been updated. And if you get the F Sport, you get a different, slightly different steering wheel and a leather-wrapped itty-bitty-bitty-bitty gear lever. So you take all of that, and then on top of that, add the fact that you are able to take your display, your IP, and actually change it completely when you're in regular mode, eco mode, and then of course sport mode. You have an interior that is actually very flexible, but best of all, the material quality is Lexus good, so it's very comfortable and everything in here feels high quality. With that being said, it has a very small back seat and a very, very small trunk. What you're looking at here is 14.3 cubic feet behind the rear seats. It ain't a lot. In fact, in the class, in any class that's a hatchback, it's not a lot. But at least you have the utility of having room here for a couple golf bags, groceries, what have you. The lift and height is pretty low. And once again, it's a hatchback, so once you put down the rear seats and everything, it's kind of like a wagon. And a leisurely start. So, yeah, God, the nose is heavy. The first thing you'll notice when you go into sport mode is that the steering definitely firms up. I like the weight of the steering a lot. I love heavy steering. Recently, I went and test drove a Alfa Romeo 4C, and I had a chance to take it on the track and everything else. And one of the cool things about that car is that it has manual steering, something you don't see every day. In fact, something that is extremely rare. And I love the feel, I love the heft of it. You just gotta burl up and go, yeah, my man, I'm gonna make this thing happen. We usually don't get that with cars, but funny thing is, considering the fact that this is a hybrid, it's actually allowing for some heft on the steering. I like that. God, I just wish this thing had power. It just doesn't want to get out of any of the corners, and this traction control is really intrusive. It just jumps in there and it says, I am intruding, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ah, come on, come on, come on, more, more, more. Nah, foot's all the way down. It's just... foot's all the way down. It's not bad. It's a hell of a lot better than a Prius. I think I could do a little bit better with the traction control off, because there are a couple spots where I need a little bit more juice. I'm thinking it's about a minute 20. I'm guessing a minute 20? Man, I'm good. Just under a minute 21. So yeah, here we go. Yeah. I'm not surprised. I know this car could do a little bit better. Tell you what, want to rig it up again? Do one more and I'll take the traction control off. All right, thanks, Andre. Here we go again. You know what happened? I went into the dirt over there. Did you see that? Yeah, you did see that, didn't you? Yeah, that's what killed it. I think I would have knocked the second off, but you know what? It's just proof positive that the sport mode does work a little bit, and taking traction control off, not a great idea. I've been trying to think about this vehicle in terms of the vehicles it competes against, because Infiniti, Acura, BMW, and now even Mercedes have vehicles that do compete in the same class for the low to mid $40,000 range. For an entry-level Lexus, for a somewhat luxurious, sporty-ish car, I think it's actually pretty damn good.
Besides a whole bunch of plastic, Volkswagen has given us a 3-liter supercharged V6, which is good for 380 horsepower and 428 Yahoo! Pound-feet of torque. Now, power is going through all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic transmission, and your EPA fuel ratings are 20 in the city, 24 out on the highway, and 21 combined. All right, so first thing I want to say is that it is obvious that we're not going to do any kind of crazy off-roading in this car. First of all, we're by ourselves. So number one, you don't want to be off-roading in some crazy place by yourself. It's just not safe. Second of all, we're on street tires. That's a really bad idea. Third of all, there's no spare in this car. So that's a really, really bad idea. Fourth of all, there's no skid plate on this car. I mean, there's a decent amount of clearance, but all in all, this off-roading in this car should be kept for, you know, going up the graded mountain road to your cabin, that kind of stuff. Please, please, please do not think that this is like an Ultra 4 rock crawler, because it's not. There's no low gearing, there's none of that stuff, okay? Okay, yay, let's go now. So the styling on this Toureg, I mean, it's not the best in the world, but it's not really the worst either. I mean, I think it's gonna satisfy people, but it's not necessarily anything to get, you know, super excited about. I do like the LED running lights in the front, and I do like that it's got roof racks, but having this extreme panoramic sunroof, holla, means that maybe you don't want to put a lot of stuff up on the top on all of that glass. Now, one thing, we are going to take this car off-road, and I'm not so sure about these tires. I'm running on just Michelin, what are they? Latitude Tours, and 2065 50s on 19-inch wheels. These are street tires, y'all. And you can see we've just been up the trail here, and already my tread is just full of sand and little tiny rocks. So yeah, that might be interesting. We'll see what happens. Now also, in case you forget you're driving a hybrid, this car is badged no less than 7 times as a hybrid. It's on the front, it's on the side, it's inside, it's in the back. Yeah, everyone will know you got a hybrid. Now, one thing that's pretty cool about this hybrid is that I don't really notice when the car is changing from electronic power to gas power. Now, I am in the off-road mode, which will turn off a couple of different, will turn off my ESC, turns off my, a little sketchy right here. There you go. Turns off my ESC, will turn off a couple of different nannies that you don't necessarily want when you're off-roading. So that's pretty awesome. So in the interior, I mean, everything looks okay, it just doesn't look great, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've got a lot of soft touch materials here, which is awesome. I've got leather seats and they're heated both front and rear. The steering wheel is also heatable, which, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what that means. I can't find a button anywhere that actually heats the steering wheel, but it is heatable. Do I put it in the fire? I'm not really sure. But there's just nothing special about it, and this car's got a pretty expensive price tag, so I kind of wanted something that would stand out here in the dash. I mean, the wood inlay is nice, the silver accents are nice, but all in all, it's just kind of plain Jane. Now, one thing that you might want, this might affect your decision, is that there is no actual USB port. Instead, you get a variety of cables. Yay! So you get a cable for your old iPhone, you get a cable for your new iPhone, you get a cable for your auxiliary, but you don't get an actual USB port, so that kind of sucks. Now, Now, while I'm in off-road mode, the car does have a couple of little fancy tricks. It's got an electronic diff lock, and it's also got a hill descent control, but both of those things are activated automatically when the car thinks that you need them. So that kind of sucks, right? Because I want to be in control of it at all times. Hey, spotter, that's probably not a good line. Nope. All right, Tommy is telling me to go the other way, so we'll go the other way. Okay. Tommy's telling me to go straight. There we go. There's a huge rock right over there, so we want to make sure that we don't scrape the bottom of this little girl. So, like I said, there are some neat tricks up its sleeve, but it's all automatic. You're not actually in control of it. And if there's one thing that just drives me insane, it's not being completely and totally in control of the car at all times. Now in the back here, I've got plenty of room for 3 full-size adults. I mean, the driver's side here is set for my position, my driving position, and I'm 5'9", and I've got plenty of room. Now I also have my own personal cup holder. I'm just mad for cup holders. And a cool thing is that right here in the center, you have a traditional outlet as well as a 12-volt outlet. So you've got some juice here to power your toys on long. What? And apparently, Tommy, my cameraman, I guess there's a button back there that you can push. Wow! And these guys come down automatically. So that's pretty fascinating. Thanks, Tommy. So this is an automatic transmission, but it is a shiftable automatic. So I've switched it over. I'm a little, my tires are spinning just a little bit here. So I'm gonna see if I can put it in first gear and see if that'll help me a little bit. Now keep in mind, this isn't a low geared car. So let's see. Come on, girl. There she goes. There she goes. And remember, you wanna go as fast as you have to, but as slow as possible. Come on, girl. Come on. I do have this surround camera, so I can look and see how close I am to objects to make sure that I'm not gonna hit any rocks or anything, which is pretty cool. And come on, girl. Come on, steady throttle, steady throttle, steady throttle. Get a little traction, move the wheels back and forth. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. There we go. Now, in the back of the Toureg, this is where my whole hybrid stuff is. So consequently, I don't get a spare, but I still have plenty of room back here. And it's enough for a trademark laundry basket rating. Looks like it's gonna be 4. Let's see, will she close? Come on, give me 4, give me 4, give me 4. Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Good there?
Yep, you're good.
I'm not gonna go right over that big old thing?
No, you're good.
Okay. Oh, shut up! Tommy thinks he's funny. Now, I do have this automatic hill descent control. And it kicks in when I'm going under 18 miles an hour and when the incline is more than 10%. So it's kicked in right here. But to be honest with you, it's been kicking in a lot. And it seemed it's been doing it on things that were much less steep, and it just released, than a 10% grade. Now, one of the things that I really like too, like I said, I have this parking camera. Oh my God. Which I really like, but when you get close to stuff, okay, it is hill descending. Ah, I don't like, it's a little frightening doing the hill descent control because again, you're not in control of the car and you have to trust it. But that's really what you always want to do, right? Is you want to trust your car, trust your vehicle. Now you guys probably heard that tiny little beep. Because I have the camera on, which I like to have, it's got a top view camera so I can see everything that's happening and see if I can hit any rocks. But when I get close, then it beeps, which I guess is what I want it to do, right? standard graded dirt road that's got a little bit of ruts from some rain that's happened. And you know, it's really soaking up, the suspension is soaking up these bumps pretty good. I mean, I'm kicking along at about 25 miles an hour. I feel very comfortable. I feel like this car is planted, and I don't feel like it's gonna lose traction on some of this gravel. And so this is the kind of off-roading that I think most people are gonna do in this car is, you know, going up to the campground. You might get a little bit of dirt, a little bit of mud, but nothing too bad. And in that case, this is doing pretty good. So the 2014 Volkswagen Touareg Hybrid actually surprised me off-road. I mean, it didn't do great, but it got me there and it got me back in one piece, even with these all-wheel, even with these street tires. So, you know, bonus. I was very surprised with that. But the MSRP on this car, it's a little pricey. I mean, this is the base model, y'all, and it comes in at $65,655. I mean, that's ridiculous, especially when you look at the Lexus RX Hybrid, which you can get for thousands less, and you get a cushier ride, a little bit of a better interior. But you know, I think that its competition comes most squarely from Volkswagen itself in the form of the Toureg TDi, which gives you much better gas mileage, 29 miles per gallon out on the highway. So on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, I've got to give the 2014 Volkswagen Touareg Hybrid a lease it. I mean, it'll get you there, and it looks okay, and it performs okay off-road, but there's just something else. I think there's better value out there.
This 2-liter turbo diesel puts out 150 horsepower, but get this, 236 pound-foot of torque. Perhaps the bigger number is 35. That's the combined MPG, which just happens to be 1 MPG more than the previous generation. But let's see how it drives, and let's see how she does on the streets of San Francisco. Andre, so you've got all the facts and figures.
Yeah.
We're in the SCL, right?
Yep.
How much is this?
30,000.
30,000. So we've got the top of the line.
Здесь все, и колеса здесь, и кожа, все есть.
Leather, sunroof, automatic transmission with a sport feature and a diesel. How about that?
DSG.
Dual sport. No.
DSG.
Yeah, it's the dual clutch. The interior of the TDi is elegant, practical, and of course ergonomically correct. Everything is where it should be for a proper German driving experience. Is it sexy? Well, probably not. But it works, and it's a much nicer place to be than the Mark VI. Very sporty indeed. It's my best Russian accent, Andre. Sound like Boris Karloff.
Italiansky pam.
Yeah, it sounds like an Italian Boris Karloff. You are correct. Hey, check it out. Look at this. The Mark 1 through 6 GTIs. Isn't that cool?
Нормально, мне нравится.
It is way cool.
Все поколения GTI, все.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, I know. They're all of them. All right, so I've got it in sport mode. So let's see what this bad boy's like when we put the pedal to the metal. But I have to wait for this Mark 1 Golf. The Rabbit GTI. Rabbit! Woo! Give him the thumbs up, man.
Молодец.
Now we got the postman pulling out. This is very difficult here to try to do any kind of test drives because we're in kind of an industrial section. We'll be right back. We're not going far. Just a loop. Yeah.
Давай, как Fast and Furious.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. All right.
Хорошо.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's okay. You know, this is why we call this a first drive review, because let's face it, this is just an initial impression of what this car is like, because unless you actually spend a week with it, which we can do in Colorado, you don't have a real sense of what the car is like. So we're giving you a first impression. Take that with a grain of salt, and we're doing our best. But in general, I think that the car feels very well put together, feels solid. The handling feels responsive yet well dampened. I'm going over these little potholes and it's not pounding us into submission. And of course, we've got a train, so There we go, the world's shortest test drive in the TDI. I'm sure we're averaging really good fuel economy because we haven't done much with this thing. Ay, ay, ay. Now I've got this driver's seat all the way back, and surprisingly there's still room for my knees, and there's even headroom even with this optional sunroof. I would say in general, the interior space of the new Golf, which is actually 2 inches longer than the previous generation, is more than ample. This car is certainly punching above its weight class, at least when it comes to interior space. You guys have expanded this product line. Over next to us, you can't see it, but that's the new R, which is coming next year.
Absolutely.
But you also have TDi, right? You have the e-Golf.
Right. You
have what used to be the Jetta sports wagon, now the Golf sport wagon.
Yep.
And you have the regular Golf.
Exactly.
What am I missing? Am I missing one?
You regular Golf. I think you said diesel, but yeah, I think that's it.
So I mean, like 5 or 6 different vehicles in the whole Golf family.
That's correct. Now. Yeah, we've really expanded the line. I mean, not only is it an all new platform, the TSI, the 1.8 turbo is new. The diesel engine in the new Golf is new. You mentioned Sport Wagon, which is coming next year, Golf R, which is coming next year, e-Golf, which is coming at the end of the year. So you're right. I mean, it's not only we expanded the line, but as kind of Volkswagen's global sales leader, you know, we understood that there's a lot of opportunity to be able to expand and kind of reimagine what the Golf means.
All right, last question. Which one of those are you going to be driving?
You know, I probably will stick to the GTI, just because I have a little bit of history, but the diesel is a very, very close second.
All right, guys, 0 to 60 in the TDI in a very, very short amount of space. Let's see. Here we go. So, oh, get a little bit of yeah, a little bit. And there's 60. Okay, there we have it. Look at that. That was very impromptu.
И 2 человека.
Yeah, with 2 people. But this is a diesel. You can handle 2 people. It's got a lot of torque.
9 секунд.
Yeah, 9.78. I bet you that'd be a lot faster if we could actually do it in a much more controlled environment, like the racetrack when we get it back to Colorado.
Yeah.
So this has been a very brief and very easy test drive of the new Golf TDI. And thank you, Andre, for your help.
Смотри, еще здесь fender. Видишь? Специальная.
You are just picking up all these cool little details. Yes, it comes with the Fender audio system. We do have navigation, and we have pretty much a loaded Golf.
$30,000.
Yeah, 30,000. I bet you know what this is. It's probably the most stunning and beautiful BMW design since the BMW M1. It is, of course, the BMW i8, and it is a hybrid that runs on both an electric motor and a gasoline engine, putting out a combined 357 horsepower and 420 pound-foot of torque. Now, this is a special car for us because it's a prototype, and there are only a couple hundred in the world at this point. So we just wanted to take this time and show you the car before we do something very special with it indeed. Tomorrow, we're going to take it to the racetrack, and we've lined up, can't believe that I'm saying this, a former Formula One race car driver to see how it actually drives on the racetrack. And that is coming up in a little bit on the Fast Lane Car. All right, I've only had this car for a couple hours, so here are some initial driving impressions. Is this BMW's answer to Tesla? And you may think, and BMW probably thinks, that it doesn't need to answer Tesla, but I think it does, because Tesla rewrote the book about what electric cars can be. And yes, it is. I mean, you've got an electric motor in the front, you've got a gas engine in the back, and combined, you've got all-wheel drive. 357 horsepower, and when you flick this gear, tell me, show this, it engages both the electric motor and the gasoline engine, and it's going to get a little fast in here for some serious fun driving. And when you can combine a car that looks as sexy as this thing does with driving dynamics that put a huge smile on my face, you've got a winner. My biggest regret is that I can't afford $136,000 because yeah, BMW didn't just smash it out of the park, they smashed it out of the state with this car. I like it that much. There are some niggles. Steering wheel is a little bit numb. You can't really quite tell what the front wheels are doing. This thing is overly huge, so not a lot of space in here. But you know what? Who cares? Who cares? When you got a car that looks like it just drove out of Tron and people all over the place just drop their jaws looking at it, you got a winner in my book. Now obviously that's just a quick preview of this drop-dead gorgeous, stunningly beautiful car. I've never had so many people take so much interest in any car I've tested. In fact, I've had young children run after me down the street, and earlier today I had 2 women offer, and I'm not making this up, to bear my kids. Of course they were not of childbearing age, but nevertheless the offer for a guy of my age was most appreciated. So be sure to come back tomorrow or later this week when we take this beautiful and stunning BMW on the racetrack and put it in the hands of a former Formula One driver. As always, this is Roman saying thank you for watching, because some days my job is great and some days my job is just unbelievable. See you next time. Ciao. Yeah, it does have an electric motor, so you won't hear much when I start it up. That's it. It's on electricity. Drive. And here I go. See you guys when we get this on the racetrack.